what have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East.
Yep.
They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Apparently, he's a pretty darn good defensive coordinator. The 49ers are decimated by injury. This guy's doing it again. Wade Phillips, Norv Turner, all these guys, there's a lot of great coordinators out there. I'm not so sure Mike McDaniel isn't a real good coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterback coach with the 49ers during some Super Bowl years. Maybe he's just not built to be a head coach.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The governor calls you out in a football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid on a terrific Tuesday. Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Little reprieve from the NFL. Put that aside tonight. Do have some college football with some MAC action. Not great, but we got 3 games. We got college basketball. Got a couple of real good games in college hoops. NBA, NHL. We got it all over the next 2 hours. Hopefully making a couple of shekels along the way, as we like to say. First up, though, as we always start the program off, game time. What's betting you off tonight, Gabe?
I'm going to have a lot of stuff betting me off tonight from a wagering perspective. We're going to have a ton of picks on the program this evening. But I tell you what's betting me off right now is the stupidity of the college football world, that we can get into it. They have a million things wrong with themselves right now. But every week that they have the playoff rankings released at a different time, you know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, this week it's like in between basketball games. So you're forcing us to watch this game? No, I don't mind watching a Michigan State Kentucky game, but, you know, can we just have it like every week at the same damn time instead of, oh, no, this week we're going to do it at halftime. Next week we're going to do it. I don't even care what the rankings are. I'm more upset about when they're putting the rankings on. But let's get to the pick-off because we got a lot of picks tonight. And, man, we got a busy night of sports tonight. There really is a ton of games going on.
Yeah, it really is. A little smorgasbord for me. I'll start with college basketball. I'm going to go under 146.5 Northern Illinois versus Northern Iowa, a couple of northern teams. Why? Northern Iowa, first off, one of my automatic under teams. They've had more unders than overs the last 2 years, so they make them an automatic under team. Already 3-0 to the under this year, and the total they're giving us in this game, 146.5. All 3 games have gone under that total. And they're taking on a Northern Illinois team that just put up 100 points on a Division III Patsy. So why would I bet an under on that team then, Scott? Well, because that's just going to get Northern Iowa focused. Like, okay, you know what? If we don't play our normal system, even though we're supposed to win by 20 plus, we could get the doors blown off us. So I think you're going to get an A game out of Northern Iowa. They're at home, and that means defense. Let's go under 146.5 Northern Illinois at Northern Iowa, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with some college basketball ball as well because this stuff goes off the board. Let's start off with Montana and Texas A&M. I'll tell you what, Montana, generally known for playing football. They have a very good football program, but these guys can ball as well. And anybody that pays attention to college basketball can remember 25-win team last year, went to the NCAA tournament. In fact, even won a game in the NCAA tournament. They've got their team back for the most part, and they even added some solid transfers as well in the portal. This is just too many points to be getting. You look at an A&M basketball team, guys. They're 2-2 on the season, but their wins are against Northwestern State and Texas Southern. They're coming off of losses to UCF and Oklahoma State, and I'm getting 2 touchdowns and a field goal with an experienced Montana team with a player who's dropping 20 points a game, guys, and I think probably has the best name in college basketball, Money Williams. Not Monty, but Money. Money Williams out of Oakland, California. He dropped 30 the other night on UNLV. He's a pure scorer. He's averaging 20 on the season. 17 is enough for me to bite. Give me Montana plus the points.
All right, my next one, NBA. I'm going to go with San Antonio, laying 5.5, 6.5, depending on where you do your shopping against Memphis. Now, I'll warn you, no Victor Wembanyama, no Stephen Castle for San Antonio, for San Antonio, right? So why play them? No Ja Morant for Memphis, and you know what? I'd rather have San Antonio without their 2 superstars than Memphis without their 1. They still got the De'Aaron Fox for San Antonio. Memphis is 2-9 against the spread. Their last 11, 1-8 straight up. They stink. They're not going to win 20 games this year. They're just a train wreck. They really are. So add it all together. San Antonio's at home. They don't lose at home. The only 2 losses they have at home was when we played them with dopey Golden State there. So give me San Antonio laying the 6.5 at home against Memphis.
I'm going to stick to the same game I was just talking about with Montana and Texas A&M. This Montana team can score, as I talked about. Williams can light it up, but they also give up a ton of points as well. If you look at their games this year, they put 102 up, guys, on UNLV. They also gave up 93. They gave up 91 to Stanford. They gave up 82 to Cal Poly. Texas A&M has struggled offensively. But I expect that they will be able to score tonight. The total's in the low 160s for this basketball game. So, I would expect Texas A&M to be able to get into the 80s type of deal, into the mid-80s. But I also think Montana are going to be able to score on them. So we're going Montana plus the points and the over in the basketball game.
All right. How about a shot on goal? Love these shot on goal guys. That kind of obscure guys you don't know that much about, right? You can bet the Alex Ovechkins of the world, but get the true value, if you will. How about Matt Coronado? I brought him up last week. Shot on goal over 2.5. Little juice minus 150, but that's actually not bad. He's had 5 straight games of getting 4. Forget about 3. 4 shot on goals. How about 4, 6, 5, and 11? And oh, by the way, I buried the lead. The last time they played the Chicago Blackhawks, this dude had, get this, 11 shots on goal. So all I need tonight is 3. Give me Matt Coronado, Calgary Flames, over 2.5 shots on goal versus Chicago.
Yeah, I'm going to give a pick for this hockey game as well. And I really don't know what we're missing with this number. It's almost too good to be true, and we often see this in sports betting. Sometimes you have to beware type of deal. It's like a bait car trap with these lower numbers. But how are the Chicago Blackhawks plus 100 on their home ice against the Calgary Flame team, as terrible as they are? They struggle to score as much as they do. The Flames have lost 4 of 5. All right, the Blackhawks have won 4 of 5. So, the Blackhawks, the collapse hasn't happened yet. They don't have any major injuries this evening, and because Spencer Knight is not playing tonight. And Spencer Knight has been great for them. No one's going to dispute this. But I'll tell you what, Soderblom is also a stud goalie. Guy's got a .913 save percentage. He stopped 45 of 46 shots the other night against the Detroit Red Wings. It's not enough to say, Spencer Knight isn't playing. The Calgary Flames are going to beat him. Give me the Chicago Blackhawks plus 100.
I like that one, too. I saw that line. I was like, that's kind of suspicious, right? So my last one, college basketball, another suspicious line, right? But there's a reason for it. Give me the Dookie Pukies at Madison Square Garden in New York, laying 10.5, 11.5, again, depending on where you do your shopping. Taking out a pretty good Kansas team, right? Not a great Kansas team. Here's the kicker, Kansas's best players, supposed top, maybe number 1 overall pick in the upcoming draft, Peterson. He's not playing tonight for Kansas. They've already lost with him by 13 points, excuse me, to North Carolina. Little bit of a Duke versus North Carolina back in the Dookie Pukies' mind when they're up 8, 9, 10 late in the game and they want to win by more than what North Carolina did, perhaps in our back pocket. Give me Duke laying to the 11.5 at Madison Square Garden against Kansas.
I'm going to take the under in the Calgary Flames and the Chicago Blackhawks. It's an even 6. I'd like to make it 6.5, but it's minus 165, so it's a little bit pricey. As I mentioned, I'm not concerned about Spencer Knight not being between the pipes tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. Meanwhile, Dustin Wolf will be playing for the Calgary Flames. Ironically enough, you would figure since Calgary can't score and you think of Chicago scoring and having some sort of flashy offense, that Calgary would be the one that plays to the under all the time, but it's actually Chicago. Chicago have been a big under team so far this year because their goalie is so damn good, and they have gotten a little bit better defensively. And the thing with the Blackhawks, they don't score a ton of goals either. Like, they've got good young players, but they don't put up 6 or 7 a night or anything like that. Let's go under 6. They just played last week or 10 days ago or whatnot. It was a 4-0 game that was like scoreless after the second period. So let's go under 6, Flames, Hawks.
All right, opening kickoff is in. We'll be back right after this in Game Live Game Day on the Grid.
And the major thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back to Game Live. Game day here on the grid. So we are underway with our opening pickoffs. Time now to look at some of the games, see if we can find some winners, and see how our plays are going so far. College football start there, Gabe, even though we got a big college basketball game. But when college football's on, it's still, no matter what it is, still kind of takes center stage here. So you got the MAC action. I bring it up also because you got a decent-sized road favorite in Western Michigan. About 6.5 or so, first place in the MAC. They're actually losing at Northern Illinois, still laying 3.5. They're down 13-7. I don't lay points to Northern Illinois. I know they're a bad team this year. I get that, but historically they are phenomenal. Not just good, but phenomenal against the spread as underdogs, even at home. So it's down to 3.5. If it got down to close to pick 'em or something, maybe I would bite, but I'm not surprised at this result, and I'm happy I didn't play Western Michigan down 13-7.
I played the over of this football game, and I was kind of baffled by the number at 38, 37.5, 38.5, et cetera, in that range, bounced around. It's currently 46.5 right now. Northern Illinois up 13-7, but Western Michigan moving the football. I thought Northern Illinois were kind of a live dog as well here. As we've stated, they have been one of the better teams in the conference historically over the years, but they're not that good this year. Let's call it out for what it is. But you get into these final games of the year, and it's a lot of guys, last home game this, last game that. Yeah. You get a lot of the emotional angles and stuff. So you kind of throw the record out. Very similar with like Bowling Green tonight, right? I thought Bowling Green was the play. Now I'm not rich enough to play them. I have enough other DGen bets, but I sort of thought same thing, Scott. Yeah, Bowling Green suck, but I could see them like sort of ending with a win here tonight against Akron. Akron in their last game, 4-7. They got nothing to play for either, basically. So, but interesting that UMass, Scott, this number closed at 33.5. They scored the first touchdown of the game, but Ohio now are up 14-7. We'll see if the Bobcats can slowly start to pull away in this football game, laying a ton of points. And I laid the points, dude. I ended up laying 33 in this game.
So did I. So it's funny. So did I. And I looked at different
I figured
angles.
They'd win like 42-3 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the way I looked at it.
I looked at I could have played the under UMass points, and then I could have played the over Ohio points or the game over.
I did that too, under 9.5. It's not looking too good so far with that early touchdown. Yeah. I got to sweat it out. You know what it was? It was 13.5 minus 200 or 9.5 plus 130. So I got roped in by the plus 130. Right. I don't think they score another touchdown, but we'll see what happens. I mean, they got shut out. They got shut out last week. They've often only scored a field goal, guys. So I'm surprised they scored on the first drive. They haven't scored since.
Yeah, me too. But I finally settled it on just Ohio. I just said, you know what, I don't have to worry about a backdoor, whatever. Just give me Ohio. I'm hoping it's going to be 40. You need 40 points, right, Bay? I figured we'd have to get 40 points, lay in 32, 33. I figured Mass for about 7, so they got their 7, and then, like you said, let's hope this is the end of it. So 14-7. These Thursday games, Wednesday's game, Tuesday's games. Listen, all these teams, they're all kind of the same mix. I get that, but it throws the kids off their schedule. They're going to school this afternoon.
They're all bad.
They're going to classes, and the teams are all bad. Yeah.
The MAC kids is a little different because they only really play during the week. You know what I mean?
Well, now late in the season. But it's still a wacky schedule. They're still going to class at 12 o'clock, and then they're practicing. I don't know what they're doing. Then they're going to a football game at home.
And I will say this, too. I think a kid that plays for Bowling Green actually does go to class.
Probably. Right? Yeah.
Like how much? They're actually going to school and stuff. Like a guy, put it this way. If you're a college football player and I'm leaving, you're a college basketball player. I know I'm only going to be here for 1 year. What do you care, about class?
Yeah, right.
Like, what are the ramifications for you? If you know, it's like, wow, I'm in trouble with the teacher. You know
I
what?
Can't play next year?
Yeah, I'm going to be in the NBA. So that professor, that dean really doesn't like me. You know what I mean? You're in a strip club as a multimillionaire in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I upset my teacher. They don't care, Scott, right? A lot of teams, right? So these guys actually are going to class because it's ridiculous. If you really wanted to, think about this. The Big Ten is a tough, academic conference, right? There are a lot of good schools in the Big Ten. How the hell, Scott, are you supposed to fly around everywhere, be on a top 5 football team, and fly around more than an NFL team does and go to class as well.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to do that? It's impossible. Seriously.
Impossible.
Like, how can you be like Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback of the Hoosiers, the second-ranked team in the country, flying around everywhere, playing against everybody, and you're expected to go to class and, like, be good at it? It's like, really? I don't even look at it. Like, I don't even know why they bother. They should make it optional. If you want to go to class, go to class. But I kind of think they do. If you notice, we don't hear about academic stuff anymore. Remember in the old days, that would happen all the time.
Yeah.
We hear, you know what?
Really
the running back's benched because his GPA is not good enough. Coach benched him. He's not doing well enough in class. I remember Michigan, as a Michigan fan, Bo Schembechler, man. That's what got you benched, basically. Like, yeah, he's not doing well enough in class, and I told him, you're not going to play if you don't do better in his class. Now, you never hear about that, Scott. I don't even think they check.
I don't even know if they're enrolled. Honestly.
Like, is Carson Beck going to class?
Deals,
like, is he in school, like, filling the exams out? Come on. The kid's driving around in a Lamborghini.
Yeah. You're paying me $4 or $5 million to play football. You think I'm going to go, listen to Sister Mary Beth here and give me all the grief? No, I don't think so either. Especially during the season. Maybe they take 1 or 2, gymnasium classes just to, really technically be in school. But
there are some dudes, though, bro, that, I don't want to dismiss them all because there's some guys that are rocket scientists and, like, that's why it's tough for, like, some schools, guys, like Stanford. They don't have, like, real estate classes at Stanford. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not, you can go to Las Vegas and you can take tourism and stuff, like the tourism industry. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of fluff type stuff.
A lot of gym, literally gym.
Recreation, athletics. Like whatever. Like there's a lot of like fluff. Stanford, bro, it's like, what are you taking? Science, calculus, rocket science? What are you studying? Like, they don't have any fluff classes there, bro. Like, you got to be smart to go there for real and be good at football. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. And game live. Check out the board when we come back.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. Checking out all the action. College basketball, good doubleheader at Madison Square Garden. Michigan State, Kentucky in the first game. Then you got Dookie Pukey and Kansas in the second game. Michigan State blowout, 3.5 point underdog to Kentucky, leading by 19 right now with 4.5 minutes left. It's actually, pretty good number. I love the under. But I like the under in the game. 154, 155 or so. I didn't think Michigan State with Tom Izzo, who I don't like, but I do respect him as a head coach. I didn't think he was going to get into a run and gun affair with Kentucky. I really didn't. So, and then they're winning by 19 points as a 3.5 point dog, 75-56. Over under is down to 151.5. If I could keep this 15, 20 point lead, Gabe, no crazy fouling in the end, no easy points, and the under should be good. If Kentucky cuts it to 10, then we're going to get incessant fouling, and the game's going to go way over. So
I have Michigan State. I have Michigan State and the over. So Michigan State was a nice play as an underdog. I took them plus the points, not on the money line. But I bet the over, and who would have thought that Kentucky would be the ones with only 56 points tonight? Say what you will about Kentucky, but they can't really shoot Kentucky. So this has kind of been a theme for them. That's why I was on Michigan State. Neutral court, MSG, and I'm thinking, man, these kids can't hit a three in their own gym. Now they're going to go to Madison Square Garden and start draining shots. But at the same point in time, I didn't need to be stuck on 56, and it's been Michigan State that's been draining the threes. It's been on pace to go over all night, but it's really slowed down in the second here just because Kentucky can't score. And Kentucky just missed another three right now. So, yeah, we got a 20-point game, and that hurts the over because you're not going to get the frantic sort of fouls at the end here in a 20-point game. Kentucky's eventually going to tap out in this spot. But I think Kentucky a little bit overrated. Michigan State a little bit underrated. And as you stated, we got the Duke-Kansas game coming up. I've got some props for it. It's too bad that the Peterson is going to miss this game tonight for Kansas. But they're still the Kansas Jayhawks, and it is still a neutral court. And even though Peterson isn't playing, whatever, Peterson's played like 2 games for them. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not like, oh, my God, we're without Peterson. It's like, he's been here for 2 games, guys, right? So it's Kansas, and in fact, that's why I like some of the props to fall into place on some of the Jayhawk players tonight without Peterson on the court. But there's a soccer game coming up. It's a big soccer day today, Scott. Teams are, like, trying to get into the World Cup. It was pretty, like, dramatic stuff earlier in the day. Like, literally, like, win and you're in type stuff. Like, Scotland qualified for the World Cup today by beating Denmark. Like, there's all kinds of, like, emotional games going on. So, Jamaica right now, guys, are playing Curacao. The winner gets in. The game is in Jamaica, for the record. So, Jamaica right now, they're plus 105. The game is scoreless, plus 333. And then, conversely, you've got so-called friendlies, as they call them, exhibition games, and Team USA are shocking people right now. Team USA were like plus 250 underdogs tonight. They're beating Uruguay right now 4-1. Like, Uruguay, one of the best teams in the world. So, yeah, USA are beating Uruguay right now 4-1. The game doesn't count for anything, but it's still good for the confidence boost for the U.S. These are the last games the teams are going to play, basically, for the most part, until the World Cup. So, Canada is coming up in a couple of minutes against Venezuela. The game's in like Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So it's like a neutral field game. Canada, Venezuela. Venezuela have lost 8 straight games away from Venezuela. So now they're playing on a neutral field in the USA against Canada. Canada are a plus 105 favorite. Venezuela are plus 275. The draw is plus 225. Look for Canada to win tonight, Scott. I think Canada are going to win like probably 2-0. The total is 2.5 to the under, minus 200. Canada have struggled to score goals in these friendly matches. So I think it probably does go under the 2.5. It's a little pricey at minus 200. But look for Canada to beat Venezuela tonight. Plus 105. Game starts in about 2 minutes.
All right. Where do I find that? I know you're not on FanDuel, but I got featured. I don't see it there.
Soccer, let's see. So here we go.
I don't see it under international.
Yes, sir. International, there it is.
Oh, there you
right
go.
Under,
Canada. Yeah, that as well.
You see USA right at the top there. USA, Uruguay, Guatemala. Those games, Scott, are not like these are sort of friendlies, but they all try. There's no such thing as a friendly in soccer. Like the Canada played a friendly last week against Ecuador, and the guy got kicked out of the game for kicking a dude in Ecuador in the face, like in the first 5 minutes. So, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah,
they're friendlies on paper, but in
no,
reality,
and the
they're
South
real.
American countries are hotheads, bro. They just are. Like,
Right.
it turns into a brawl all the time, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Venezuela will get mad tonight and start fighting and stuff.
All right, Mark Zeno coming up next. Let's see what he has on his plate tonight.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. I think Kentucky's got about 5 minutes without scoring any points. Holy crow. Let's talk a little college basketball, a little NBA, maybe some football as well with our good buddy Mark Zitto, Sports Grid host you see here all the time here on the grid. What's going on, Mark? How are you tonight, bud?
Doing well, gentlemen. Watching Maction very closely Yeah, I mean, I took Bowling Green tonight. Nothing I ever thought I'd say to you guys here, taking Bowling Green. I kind of felt like, look, it's weird because this is Akron's final game of the year. Like, their bye week is next week, which is like the last week of the season. So the scheduling thing was weird. They just lost a double OT gut punch game to their rival last week, Kent State. It kind of felt like they were going to be a no-show. And to this point, offensively, they have been a no-show, but guess what? Bowling Green isn't very good. And plus the fact that Bowling Green was a favorite, like a 1-5 team in the conference was a 3-point favorite. So it kind of told me that odds makers were sort of looking at it the same way, that the motivation level for Akron was going to be low here. So I got Bowling Green in this game. And I stayed off Northern Illinois. Really, really wanted to take them as a home dog tonight. Didn't do it. And after the first quarter, I was cursing myself. Why didn't I take Northern Illinois? Why didn't I? And never had to play football. And now I'm like, I don't know about the second half.
Well, now you can. That's all day. It's almost like we're right back to where we started with these games, huh?
Yeah.
I just jumped in on Bowling Green because I was with you, Mark. I told Scott the same thing earlier. I bet the over 47 in that game, Akron and Bowling Green. And I also like Bowling Green, but I was, same thing. I was thinking Akron, 4 wins, last game of the year, etc. So we got a 6-6 game right now, and I just took them. I got them at -115, so I just took Bowling Green. But Northern Illinois guys are getting 6.5 at the half right now. Right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty much what it was. It's 14-13 at the half. Western Michigan have taken a lead.
The difference is they got a 1-point lead, and that when it's 6.5, that 1 point could be a lot.
Yeah, well, someone's gonna go for two somewhere along the line, especially Northern Illinois, right? If they score the touchdown, so that could kind of flip it all.
Yeah, and it's the MAC too. I don't think of key numbers in the MAC.
Yeah.
It's like the CFL.
Yeah.
They'll go for two. They'll miss a field goal. Weird stuff happens in this conference. But I hear what you're saying at the 6.5. But Northern Illinois have been untrustworthy this year, guys. Right? I mean, we all think of them as being a great underdog, Scott. But let's be real. They have been bad this year.
Yeah.
2-6 against the spread. The last 8 games this season, and they got blown out in a couple of games too. So, and then, it's funny. They were actually competitive when they played the real teams at the beginning of the year, thinking, okay, they'll be much better in the MAC, but that hasn't transpired. They're even worse against MAC teams than they are, against the Mississippi States of the world. So I don't know how, Gabe, but somehow or another, Ohio didn't score a touchdown. They had a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line against UMass, and I see it's still 14-7. So somehow or another,
2nd and goal now, though. They didn't turn it over or anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there was a timeout.
There might be a weather delay. I'm seeing delayed at this point.
Maybe that's why. Okay. You got a little weather delay there in Ohio. All right. Did you lay the 32.5 like we did, Mark? On that one?
No, I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
What are you saying? We have a problem? You say we have a gambling problem?
Are you saying we were sick?
You're more courageous than I am.
Hey, they did lose like 48-0 last week, right? Like, so it wasn't like a hot take or anything. They are terrible. They did score on the first drive, so we'll see what happens. 83-63 right now. The benches are clearing. Michigan State just clearing their bench. Looks like this game is going to stay just under the number due to Kentucky's uselessness.
Yeah. I mean, give credit to Michigan State. I mean, there's a couple of things about this matchup that kind of stood out to me. One, Michigan State was hitting their threes, right? Like, obviously, that's the key to their game and how good that they are. But then also, you had to look at Kentucky not hitting shots, only shooting 36%. So I stayed off this game. Leaned Michigan State, though, taking the points. But sometimes when you go into Rupp Arena, you never know how things are going to work out for the Wildcats.
No, this is at the Garden. This is at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, MSG this one. Yeah.
Right, sorry.
Yeah.
Duke and Kansas coming up here, too.
Yeah.
And
who'd you have on that one, Mark?
Duke and I took the under. I mean, look, Kansas is going to be without, or likely to be without, Darren Peterson. I'm not sure if we've got official word whether he's in or out at this point in time. And for all Duke's offensive exploits, they're still a really good defensive team under John Shire. They ranked 4th in points per possession last year, and so far this year they're 3rd. Kansas, even without Peterson, has held up this season 17 in points per possession allowed. But both of these teams right now, top 11 in defensive rating. I know it's early on, but Kansas is 11th and Duke is 9th. So, I think as long as we get a, consistent, even matchup on both sides and it's not a blowout that comes one way or another, I think these teams check each other pretty well, particularly early on, and we stay under this number.
With Peterson, it's a lot of points, guys. The 83-66 final score, so it gets to 149. 83-66, Michigan State wins. But, even with Peterson out, you brought it up, Mark, they're still good, right? Kansas, they're still good defensively. They can't really shoot, so I can kind of see where you're going with that. Problem is, how good are Duke? And Duke do seem to be pretty damn good. I'm just worried. I know, Scott, you're willing to lay the points. It's just too many points for me to lay against the Kansas team, even without Peterson. Like I said, Peterson's great, but kids played 2 games, right? So it's not like he's carrying this program. They still have ballers on the team. They're clearly outmatched, but, man, that's a lot of points to be laying the Kansas Jayhawks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just figured, you know what? They're begging to take Kansas. This is a classic opposite pick. I mean, it's Duke and Kansas, right? I mean, the average person saying you want to give me 10.5 points in a game that should be like a toss-up. Somehow,
and we should know, Scott, it might as well be a home game for Duke. I mean, they play at MSG as much as they do Cameron. They play as many home games. They have more wins, than the Knicks do at MSG over the years.
They really do. It's amazing. They love coming to New York, man. All these teams, where do I sign? To come to New York, get the exposure, get all the New York City kids. Oh, yeah, hand out all the paraphernalia to the kids, the recruits and everything. They really do.
I got a bunch of rich lawyers, Scott, Duke alum in New York and stuff.
You guys buy into the whole sideline angle for two teams playing their first game there this year?
No, not anymore.
Not really.
I used to be a fan of that, Mark, in the old days, but these kids seem to be able to shoot blindfolded anywhere, right? Like, especially on the pro gyms are more friendly, actually. The only one, and, it's funny you bring that up because for whatever reason, Mark, the Barclays Center throws kids off. And it's the lighting. It's dark as hell in there. Like, I swear to God, the Atlantic 10 always has their conference in there. Like, it's always like a slugfest. No one can hit a shot. So I hear what you're saying with some of the sight lines, maybe in stadiums in the old days, in the old football stadium, but it doesn't seem like the modern kids really care anymore.
I mean, MSG is still in and of itself a basketball arena, right? Like sometimes when they get to some of those big where they play them in football stadiums or wherever else, I think that still applies.
Oh, yeah, no, that's basketball. Basketball and hockey.
Basketball arena, right.
Yeah, so.
Remember the old days, they used to throw them off. They'd have the curtain and stuff like that behind. Like, what I mean? Sometimes the depth perception will throw people off. But
Syracuse. They do that Syracuse. The carrier.
Yeah, but the modern player, they don't, doesn't seem to bother them. And you got the nice soft rims in these NBA buildings, too.
Chances are pretty good. They've been here since Saturday. It's no longer we're flying in the day of the game. Get a 15-minute warm up. They've probably had 1, 2, if not 3 practices already there. So
remember they used to have the 24 hours on ESPN, like to start the college basketball season. So they'd play like literally for 24 hours. And I remember like my theory, Mark and Scott, of like I'm betting the under of like I think it was the Manhattan Jaspers. They were playing at 6 a.m. I was like, it's ridiculous. I was like, there's no way in hell this game's going over 154 at 6 a.m. Like, these kids aren't going to be into it. They didn't miss a shot, guys. I think they top 200. That's what I gave up on logic, like systems. It's like, wow, 6 in the morning. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know what I mean?
That's amazing. Yeah. Sometimes you buy into this stuff and then it just It's just like, so crazy. All right, quick little break. We'll get some more winners from Mark on the other side. In-game live, game day on Grid right here.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe talking with our good buddy Mark Zito, SportsGrid host. So a couple basketball games starting here. We'll get to the NBA here in a second, Mark, if you got some plays, but I'll throw it out there. Texas hosting Ryder starting at the top of the hour, right? The line is 30.5. The over-under is 143.5. So all Ryder needs to do is score about 54 to 55 points in order to guarantee a split, because if they get to that, then in order for Texas to cover, the game has to go over. So I consider these my double free bets. I take Ryder, maybe buy the hook, get it up to 31.5, buy the hook on the over-under at 143.5 and get that down to 143, and just hope Ryder scores 53, 54 points, and then maybe get a double winner, a 90 to 65 type of goofy game. Willing to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I support the logic 100%. Sometimes when the maths for you, just follow it and go. I mean, I did that the other night. West Virginia, they had gone under in their first 4 games, and finally the total had dropped low enough where the math was as simple as, look, West Virginia's slow offense will score enough against, I forget what team they were playing the other night. It slipped my mind. But the math worked out. Like I said, look, if they get to 75, the other team gets to 55, we're going to get over this 133.5. And lo and behold, West Virginia got to 81. The other team got to 59. And it was, like in those scenarios where those numbers work out, I definitely support it. I did something similar tonight where I took San Francisco tonight and the over in that game. San Francisco, as a home team, usually averages around 80 to 82 points a game at home. Their team total was 83.5. And if they get to 80, Northwestern State, who plays fast and actually can shoot, if they keep the tempo up here and they get to, 57, 58, or even 60, if they go above 60, I think this thing goes way over 144. So I took the over in that game.
I did the same thing with Montana. I got Montana plus a 17 in the over, thinking, listen, if they don't cover, it's because Texas A&M, hangs 95 on them. They're sort of on pace right now. Texas A&M will put up 45 in the first.
Montana
I
can
don't know
shoot.
if you – yeah, I know. Exactly. Montana can score. They got that guy, Money Williams. He's a pure scorer. They, pretty much – they won 25 games last year, and they got most of their – pretty much the entire team is back. So I like experienced teams, but –
when they're at home, it makes a worthy team to play on.
Yeah, you're right. Look, they beat UNLV, but UNLV are mid. I get it. On the road. They did get lit up by Stanford on the road, but you're right, Mark. When they play it at home in conference play, these guys are legit.
Yep.
A crazy game. It's a real DGen special late. I don't know if you guys looked at it, but UCLA haven't covered a number yet this year, huh? Mm-hmm. Now they're playing Sacramento State tonight, laying 29, Scott. It's a lot of points for UCLA to be laying. I tell you what, for a team that's 0-4 against the spread.
3-1 under, too. I like the under, Mark.
I mean, Mick Cronin is a curious character, isn't he? I don't know how much effort he's really putting into this at this point in time. I think that to a certain extent, he's opening up his rotation a little bit. When you kind of look at what he's done early on in the year, he's willing to go 9, 10 guys deep in the game and see where it goes. I don't know. His coaching is definitely peculiar at times. But UCLA is a highly rated team, so I'm not sure what to think of him at this point.
Yeah. Remember they got that Dent kid from New Mexico, right? The transfer. So Dent comes in. He's only scoring 14 points a game. It's funny. I don't know if you guys know, but like that skinny kid Mara was on the team last year. He's killing it with the Michigan Wolverines right now. And listen, I know Cronin personally. I actually did shows with him during the NCAA tournament years ago. So he's a cool dude. He likes to bet on horses. He's really into horses. Like he owns race horses and stuff like that. But to me, Mark, he doesn't utilize his talent. Like you can recruit or you could pay all these stud players to go there. But if you're going to yell at him 24/7 and beat him down in practice and demand your system and stuff and complain about, I've seen the Statue of Liberty 3 times already and all that type of stuff.
Yep. And I can't wait for him to have to fly east again this year. It's the first opportunity.
It's like you're in newsflash. You're in the Big Ten, coach. Like, hey, you're going to see the Statue of Liberty in the same way Michigan sees the Hollywood sign.
Yep. So it's what the deal is, and it's same thing in football. Like for USC, they've not learned how to win getting at a Pacific time zone, other than playing Purdue, which doesn't count. But the point simply is adjusting to the travel for these ACC and now new Big Ten teams that are on the West Coast. It's part of life.
So speaking of USC check in at 15, guys, with the college football playoff poll. Alabama number 10 right now. So I figured I'd jump in when it started to get deeper into it here.
They dropped Bama to 10. My God.
Dude, Alabama could lose 5 times. They're going to want to put these guys in. Like, I'm so sick of it. Like with the SEC. Like losses don't count to these people.
Hey, they're trying to find a way to put Texas in. Yeah, with 3 losses, they're still trying to find a way to put Texas in.
So Texas is right ahead of Michigan. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Exactly. Like Notre Dame 9. So Notre Dame's a polarizing team for people. So Notre Dame are a 9 right now.
Like, it's weird. You know what's weird about the committee? It's like the Florida State loss didn't matter the last 3 weeks. But now that Alabama lost the game to Oklahoma, all of a sudden the Florida State loss gets thrown back in there, right? They were the 4th best team in the country.
Yeah, they pick and choose.
They're the 4th. Exactly. Florida State had nothing to do with them being the 4th best team in the country. But lose one more game, all of a sudden, wow, you lost to Florida State. Like, that's the flawed logic that the committee brings in sometimes that drives me absolutely nuts.
I'm curious, who do they have as the highest? It wouldn't be in a top 10 game, so I don't know if you have the whole list there, but who is the highest non-Power 4 team?
North Texas.
Over James Madison, yeah. They put him in over JMU.
James Madison is 1 spot higher. James Madison is at 21. North Texas is at 22. And Tulane is at 20.
Yeah, they started at 15 here. So Oklahoma are at 8 right now. Yeah, so North Texas, like they'll get in whether they're in the top in the poll or not, right? It's just unless they stumble along the way, and they still got a couple of games coming up left.
Yeah,
it's no real shockers here so far, really. Like, and all these teams for the most part are still going to play each other too, right? I mean, it's going to work itself out. Yeah. USC and Oregon play this week.
The funny part
is debate.
Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead. I just say the biggest debate is not necessarily 1 through 10. It's who's going to be the 5th conference, or maybe even the 4th conference if the ACC champ happens to have 3-4 losses. Could a San Diego State, a James Madison, or an American team increase, and go higher than the ACC? That's where it really gets fun. So, Mark, good job as always, man. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim don't leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in 1-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, 1-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one, closing it out. They just announced the updated college football rankings, Gabe. And the things I noticed as I'm seeing the corner of my eye here, ACC only has one team. That's Miami, and the Big 12 only has one team. That's Texas Tech. Those are huge. That's what you're kind of looking for now. And the highest non-Power 4 team is Tulane. So, if it stays like this,
I think Miami are being overrated.
Games.
Yeah, so that's why I don't get too upset about this, right? I really don't, flip out about this. There's still a couple of weeks left. There's still the conference championship games as well. It'll sort itself out. But interesting, a team that isn't getting any love is Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech control their own destiny. Well, they're the ones that control their own destiny in the ACC. And think about it. You brought it up, actually, with the Pitt game about, well, it doesn't count, in the ACC against Notre Dame. They have a massive game the day after Thanksgiving, Georgia Tech against Georgia, right? So it's one of those deals where you're trying to get in the playoffs, so you can't say it doesn't matter, but it's not a conference game for them, et cetera. But it matters. But Georgia Tech is a pretty, all they do is win games. They don't really get a lot of love, though, from the media for whatever reason.
Yeah. They have Pittsburgh coming up next, and then Georgia. So they could. I think if they win, there's so many teams that might not be ranked right now that in essence kind of control their own destiny. And Georgia Tech is one of them.
Michigan's a good example.
Yeah.
Like, where's Michigan now? Like, they're 18th, 17th. They're not. They showed the top 15 here. So where's? Let's see. 10. Now they're skipping around for whatever reason. They go from 10 to 24 right now. They're with the committee here. But that's my whole point. So, anyways, Michigan are 8-2. They play Maryland. You go 9-2. You beat Ohio State and you're 10-2. You're getting in. You just beat Ohio State. You're 10-2, and your two losses are against Oklahoma and USC, both on the road. Right? So, like I said, so the rankings, what do they matter to Michigan right now? They don't. If you're Michigan, keep your head down, Scott, and win the next two games, and you're getting in the playoffs.
Yeah. But to me, nothing is surprising. I think this is how it's going to play out. And the committee, Gabe, will never, ever admit to this, but I would swear on my last dollar this is exactly what's happening. They're saying right now that, okay, you're going to get the 5, best conference winners. ACC is only getting 1. Big 12 is only getting 1. Notre Dame is getting in. Big 10 is getting 2 at-large bids, and the SEC is getting 4 at-large bids. Now, you've SEC, you go figure out your 5 teams.
No, the Big 10 will have 3.
Champion. Yeah, Big 10 will have 2 at-large bids. Right, the 3, the champion, and 2 at-large bids.
Yes. And they could potentially have 4. That's where things will get interesting. The Big 10 could get weird. Like, Michigan kind of dictate this in the insanity factor and USC are another one, Scott. Put it this way. If Michigan beat Ohio State, and I know it's a big if, but if Michigan had beaten them 4 years in a row, and Ohio State had been good the last 4 years, so it's a big possibility, guys. If Michigan wins out and USC wins out, USC wins the Big 10. They're going to the conference championship game. But they've got to beat the Ducks.
But they would have to win.
They've got to beat the Ducks this week.
Yeah.
And Scott, I'll tell you what, the Ducks
championship game.
The Ducks' last 2 games are not easy, right? They host the USC Trojans this week, and then they go to Washington. And they've struggled in Washington before. They lost to Washington twice a couple of years ago with Bo Nix, right? They lost in Washington, and then the rematch, they were favored again by 7 points in Las Vegas, and they lost again to them. I get it. It was Michael Penix, and they were stacked, and Odunza and all that. They went to the national championship that year. It was only 2 years ago, right? It was the year Michigan won. Yeah. But going into Seattle, Scott, it's a rivalry game. That will not be an easy game for the Oregon Ducks to end the season, even if they beat USC this week.
Yeah. The other issue is, but I do think it's going to, listen, there are only 7 at-large bids. And one's going to Notre Dame. So now there's only 6 at-large bids, and the Big 10 is getting definitely 2, no matter who the 2 are, and the SEC is definitely getting 4. So, again, to me, what this poll is telling you is that there's no second ACC team, and there's no second Big 12 team.
No.
The first 2 teams out were BYU and Utah out of the Big 12. So they're not overtaking those SEC teams.
I think the Big 12 kind of deserves two teams, a good conference. They're just beating the crap out of each other. Yeah, like it's a good conference, Scott. Like you got Texas Tech, you got BYU, you got real teams in this conference. But when it's all said and done, I think you're probably right. They'll get ACC and Big 12 get one each.
Yeah, too bad. All right, in-game live. We'll check the board when we come back.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, game day here on the grid. Start of hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. So we have the college football rankings. We'll discuss that a little bit. We got some college basketball. We got NHL, a little NBA, and we have our late night opening, if you will, late night pickoff. 4 more plays from Gabe, 4 more for me. So I'll start it off here, Gabe. Little NBA tipping off in a little bit. I got to grab Phoenix plus 2.5 at Portland. If you follow these lines, they've given a lot of love to this Portland Jailblazers team, as I like to call them. They're not bad, flying under the radar, a little 6-7, straight up and against the spread. But I like this Phoenix team. Addition by subtraction with Kevin Durant no longer there. Most people figure they would fall off the map, but that is not the case. 9-5. You want to give me 2.5 points with them? Basically you're counting on them winning the game. I think they do. Give me the Phoenix Suns for our late pickoff start, plus 2.5 at Portland.
I'm going to go back to Madison Square Garden here. So we talked earlier about Peterson being out for the Kansas Jayhawks. So Baidunga averages 17 points a game as it is. He dropped 25 the other night without Peterson in the last game. So as I stated, they've still got ballers. It is the Kansas Jayhawks, right? So yeah, Peterson is a big-time recruit and is going to be a top 2, top 3 pick in the NBA draft. But they still have guys that can play. So it's 15.5, and you're getting a little plus money right now at plus 110 as well. So let's go with Baidunga over 15.5 points for a player that's averaging 17, and it's going to have more volume and more shots to take tonight without Peterson in the lineup.
All right. I'm going to use another shots on goal guy tonight. A little off the beaten radar here. Dylan Gunther for the Utah Mammoth. Over 2.5. He's taken on an awful, not he, but, they're playing an awful San Jose team as far as shots on goals are concerned. They've given up the fourth most shots on goal this year. Gunther has hit 3, which is what we need. It's a little juicy, -2-1, but he's hit that 4 straight in 5 of his last 6. And those numbers are, he's going way over. He's not going 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. How about 5, 3, 6, 4? So, and then 2, and then the 3. So give me a Dylan Gunther over 2.5. Again, a little juice. Maybe you want to put in a parlay 2-1 shots on goal.
All right. As far as I'm concerned, let's stick with the Duke-Kansas game, actually. Isaiah Evans. So Isaiah Evans, guard, Duke Blue Devils. His rebound prop is 2.5. It's like 50 to the over. He's gone over this number in 3 of the 4 Duke games so far this year. But it should be noted, he's only played like 19 minutes, 22 minutes. Duke have murdered everybody. Like even Texas. Like, he played, I think he played 23 against Texas. Texas was kind of their close game and even won that game by like 15, 16. The other all been blowouts, so he really hasn't even played as much as he would in like a real game, and he's still gone over 2.5 rebounds in 3 of the 4 games. You have a higher total tonight. The question is, will it get there? That's up for debate, but one thing with Kansas is they've struggled shooting. Therefore, when teams struggle to shoot, there'll be rebound opportunities for the opposing team's guard. Look for Isaiah Evans to go over 2.5 rebounds tonight.
All right. Next one for me, another shot on goal and same game. I do all my kind of computer work on Tuesday night, so I'm going to be up late watching here on the East Coast, Utah and San Jose. Why not? Give me Nick Schmaltz over 2.5 for Utah as well. Don't like playing 2 guys to get their shots on goal, but again, San Jose, 4th, 5th most shots on goal. They give it up in the NHL. He had, by the way, 6 in a meeting earlier this year in which he had a hat trick as well. So he is no doubt salvated and getting right back on the ice against this San Jose team that gives up a ton of shots on goal. So Gunther and Schmaltz for Utah over 2.5 shots on goal.
College basketball game here. Wichita State, the Shockers. Wichita State go to Boise, Idaho to take on Boise State. I'll tell you what, Wichita State are 3-0 straight up. They're 3-0 against the spread on the season. Boise State, coming off a 4-point win against Montana State, they've actually lost, guys, to Hawaii Pacific. See, I waited a second there to throw in the Pacific part. Not even Hawaii. It wasn't even a line game. There wasn't even a point spread. Like, Hawaii Pacific are basically a rec team, and they beat Boise State. And you figure, whatever, crazy things happen. Yeah, whatever, dude. They just won by 4 only against Montana State. I don't know. Boise State are being priced on reputation and not what's actually going on. It's still early in the season. They follow the preseason rankings and are not paying attention to Boise State basketball. But, I think Wichita State could actually win this game outright. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Give me Wichita State plus the points at Boise tonight.
All right. My last one, college basketball. You called it earlier, degenerate special. Why not? UCLA versus Sacramento State, the Bees. How about that? We're going to go under. Under is the play for UCLA. They're one of our automatic under teams. Last 2 years, they've had more unders than overs. That makes them an under team. The number's a pretty decent-sized number as well, 147.5 against the Sacramento State team. That's 3-2, but 2 of the wins come against Division III teams. So, you know what? It could be 110-50 in a complete blowout, but you mentioned it earlier, Gabe. UCLA is yet to cover a game this season. They're playing, relatively close games. Hopefully this one is as well. Under 147.5 Sacramento State at UCLA.
UCLA have been underachieving, but they're not terrible. They're just winning by, 17 or 20 and stuff by like 30-point favorites all the time, and they're frustrating people. Let's go with a shots on goal prop here, guys. NHL hockey. Will Smith. There's a lot of Will Smiths in the world. Baseball, entertainment, hockey. So Will Smith. Listen, Will Smith is second on the San Jose Sharks, and we know the San Jose Sharks are an offensive-minded team. He's second on the team with 43 shots on goal this season. He's had 2 or more shots on goal in 5 of his last 6 games. I find it interesting, actually, guys, that they made it 1.5 instead of 2.5 tonight. So it's 1.5. It is pricey. So I know I'm not going to make a habit of giving picks that are minus 190, but Will Smith to have 2 or more shots on goal playing on the power play in the one line, the number one line of the San Jose Sharks. And by the way, he's had 2 or more shots on goal in 5 of their last 6 games as well. So let's go with Will Smith, San Jose Sharks over 1.5 shots on goal. It's kind of good parlay material if you don't want to lay the minus 190. And a couple of bonus quick picks. We gave you the Baidunga over 15.5 for the Kansas Jayhawks. Isaiah Evans over 2.5 rebounds for the Duke Blue Devils. But, Scott, I can't resist Boozer here in this spot. You're getting Cam Boozer here at Madison Square Garden. Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe a big-time NBA, blah, blah. He's going to put a show on tonight. His prop is 22.5 for a reason. Let's go over 22.5 points scored for Boozer. And another bet over 11.5 rebounds for Boozer as well. He's topped out at 12 rebounds twice this year. No Peterson on the court. I think it's a big game for Boozer, and he puts a showcase special, NBA draft special tonight, Scott.
Yeah, that's not bad, and I don't think they're going to call off the Dogs at Madison Square Garden. You don't fly all the way to New York and then say, okay, we're up 15 like they might be tonight. Although I really don't think they'll be up that much, but just in case, you don't sit these guys second half. You just don't.
Yeah, the better Kansas plays, the more stats we get too from Duke almost, right? Like if it's a close game, you know what I mean? It's more like hopefully it doesn't turn into like it was earlier tonight, right? With Kansas and Michigan State. I mean, look, that game, I had the over, Scott, so good for you. You hit the under, but I had the over. That game had no business staying under the number. Like Michigan State, they did, and they still got to 149, and it was a blowout of a game. You know what I'm saying? Like you get a close game, you get fouls in college.
If you would have told me that Michigan State would have scored, what they score, 86 points, 83. If you would have told me before the game Michigan State was scoring 83, I would not have played the under. I figured this would be like, 74, 71, something like that. But, who thought Kentucky would only get 66 points? So, Navy, by the way, or North Carolina won, but didn't cover against Navy. I thought about Navy playing a little hunch on that, but I didn't. 73-61 is your final there. So, all right. So
football's opening up a bit.
Good. We're all over that Utah-San Jose game.
Western Michigan
how about that? Western Michigan? All right. We out of a delay there. We'll figure out in the UMass game. Maybe some Ohio points.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
That's kind of weird. I just saw UMass try a 50-yard field goal. I don't know, from my TV set, it looked like it was dead right down the middle, but they ruled it no good. All right, we'll take it. That's kind of
good.
21-7.
I've got under 9.5, so I can't.
Yeah.
And for the record, I'm not doing this 9.5 ever again. I did it for another.
It's the second time for you, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing it anymore.
I guess it slid in front of the goalpost. Boy, it looked like it kind of hooked in. But I guess not. Yeah, what'd you lose? You had another 9.5 the other day. I forget which one it was.
What'd they get to? 13, I think. It wasn't. They didn't get to too much higher, but they did go over the 9.5. I lost. Might have been a pro game, actually. I forget. We do so many games, right? Like,
make so many
Bowling Green. Yeah, Bowling Green right now down 9-6. I just popped this game on. They do have the football right now early in the second quarter. I think the Falcons are live in this game, actually. We took them minus 115 when it was 6-6 before. Like we said, Akron are 4-7. Because they're not going to a bowl game, it doesn't mean they don't care right now, though, the kids on Akron.
Right.
The guys on Akron.
Nationally televised game, too. Nationally televised game. It's on the 4-letter network.
But also, Scott, it's their last ever game. Guys on Akron aren't going to the NFL. There's not one player on Akron that'll be in the National Football League.
That's right. This is game number 12. They're 4-7.
Right.
Therefore, Bowling Green's got one more.
There might be a few dudes. Might be a few dudes on Akron that might end up in the CFL or maybe the UFL or something like that, or an arena league. But for the most part, like 95% of the Akron players are playing their last ever football game tonight.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to spirited effort, like, you know what I'm saying?
But you know,
Bowling Green's. Yeah, but Bowling Green's last home game too. They're both back, like, you know what I'm saying? So it was more of a.
How many people are at that Bowling Green? Bowling Green, Akron. How many people on a
They're
Tuesday
3-7
night?
They're
3-17 degrees. Yeah. What
Eddie George. I think I did it for Eddie George. I was like,
Eddie George. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Eddie George is the coach of Bowling Green.
Yeah. It's been a rough first year for him, right?
They look good early, if you remember. I think they were they won the games early. Yeah, they were getting hyped. People were like, man, look at the job Eddie George is doing over there. But, the wheels have fallen off. Reality has kicked in. Dude, they're on, to their fifth quarterback, Scott. They've, literally, their star quarterback got hurt. And they're literally this kid is fourth or fifth string that's starting right now. That's their problem. Bowling Green, Bowling Green generally have a pretty good offense, right? Their offense is just screwed this year.
Yeah. I'll tell you something.
They look like the Cleveland Browns too. Their jerseys, and they look like they're as bad as the Browns right now. Watching this game, is just taking 5 years off my life, Scott. This is like watching a Raider game, except worse.
This is 9-6. Some of the recruiting.
Look at the lighting in
with these MAC teams. Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at it. It's like a high school stadium.
It's all dark and stuff. There's actually, I don't know. It looks like there's a few thousand people there. Well, I think Akron just fumbled the punt. Bowling Green punted. I think they just fumbled. Let's see. Bowling Green players think they have it. Players always think they have it, though. The other team guys are always you can't listen to the defense. No. See, everyone on Bowling Green was wrong. Akron recovered it.
Yeah, figures. NBA didn't play it, but did have a little bit of a hunch on Orlando tonight. I figured after going against the Warriors last two times, I wasn't going to press my luck again. But lo and behold, they're losing to Orlando. I really kind of figured that. Sure enough, 113-99, 4.5 minutes left. This will be their first loss after the Draymond Green little thing. Did play a hunch, though, on the Nets. This might be the only time I actually put American money on the Brooklyn Nets, getting 10.5. I figured, who are the Celtics to be laying 10.5 on the road this year? Yeah, it's anybody, even the Nets. Boston leading at 80-75, late third quarter there. Our Spurs play against Memphis. All right, we're up 2 at half, 49-47. Laying 5.5, the number that it was originally. So that's not too bad. And then we got Utah and the Lakers, 13.5. What's Luka's number today? At 239.5 against the Jazz. I bet they got Luka at 35.5. You wait.
Well, LeBron James makes his debut tonight. So LeBron James is back.
So it's down to 31.5. Right.
LeBron. So
LeBron's
it's interesting with LeBron. What for me, that's what I'm fascinated about, right? We've seen the Lakers have been high flying and running and gunning, and I've talked in the past. This has been a trend with the Lakers, even before Luka, etc. When LeBron's not there, they play faster, right? He slows it down. I mean, he walks the ball up stuff. Will he assimilate himself, Scott? Right? Well, I mean, he's been watching this team. Will he say, all right, he's running without me here. Am I just going to come back and say, I'm LeBron James, I'm back, give me the effing ball and walk the ball up the court, right? So I don't know. Like, oftentimes, guys, when the star player comes back, it throws things off, like for the first couple of nights. Everybody's gotten used to their new funner roles, right? Where now Luka's got to adjust, Scott, too. Right? Luka's had free reign. Now Luka doesn't have free reign tonight. You want to piss LeBron off in the first night back already? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to cause little, riffs, right away. LeBron's already sensitive that Luka's taking the team over as it is. Maybe Luka assists tonight. Maybe Luka's just like, man, I'm going to just take the ball, everyone. I don't want to score 40 tonight because I don't want that to be the headline tomorrow. LeBron back, but Luka's team now,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're a Laker fan, you want this to be Luka's team, right? I mean, let's face it.
Well, that's why they brought him in, to phase LeBron out. It wasn't really to play together, guys, because they're not a great fit together. It's more LeBron ain't going to be here forever. We need a new star.
Yeah. And there's such a weird team. We see it with Reeves, when Luka and LeBron don't play, Reeves goes crazy. They don't all they don't mesh together. They're all different when one guy plays or another guy doesn't play. It's the weirdest thing. I don't think it's getting a 239.5. At 240 points for a LeBron game. I got to see that to believe it. I like the under of the game. All right, more coming up.
LeBron's prop is 15.5.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. We always talk about trends here, right? I love trends as much as the next guy. But, listen, and I do believe in them. I really do. But Toronto and St. Louis, Gabe, we talked in one of the breaks. Toronto, 9 straight overs at home, 13-1 over their last 14 games. And it was 1-1 after 1, and then it was 2-2 after 2. So you were kind of on pace, but nothing since. 2-2. 4.5 minutes left, St. Louis and Toronto, and barring something not crazy. You get a goal and then an empty netter. It can still go over the 5.5, but it doesn't look like it's going to go over 5.5. So much for all those over Toronto trends.
16-3 on the season, and I took the in-game under 6.5 after 2 periods of play here. Yep. The thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've been a slam dunk over team this year, but they're besieged by injuries. They're besieged by the media. It's like downright nasty in Toronto right now. And the media is in a bad mood. They just lost the World Series, so they turn their attention. The Raptors are doing well, so there's nothing to complain about there. So the Leafs are getting all the attention. They want to fire Craig Berube. And it's not just like, fans want to fire him. Like, it's to the point where the president had to do a press conference today to give the old dreaded vote of confidence to the coach, which means you're going to fire probably in a week.
Yeah,
never
exactly.
We believe in him. And you get this, Scott. So, Trivelling's the president, GM, whatever, guy they had. And he did a press conference. He said, we have complete confidence in Craig Berube. He's an established coach. We don't blame the coach. We have a lot of injuries. But he goes, but there does seem to be a disconnect between the coaching staff and the players. That's what he said.
Well, that's not exactly nice.
Yeah, so I have your back, but the players aren't listening to you, right? So Berube was asked, and they said, Triveling just said that you're not to blame, and, he's got complete confidence in you, and he sort of, nodded along. And then the second part of the question came, and he said, but he also said there's a communication problem, and there's a gap between you and the players, that they're not listening. And he said, I wouldn't agree with that at all. And he got all defensive. And then he started backtracking because Berube said the other day that they don't care. The players don't care. Yeah. Now he's like, I don't mean they don't care. I just mean that, they could be more consistent. Like, dude, we're not even into December yet, and they're talking about firing a coach. It's ugly there. And Austin Matthews is out. Matthew Nees is out. Their entire team is out. So tonight it just sort of felt like in-game here. I wanted to take the Blues, actually, Scott, tonight. I was going to take the St. Louis Blues tonight.
They've beaten them 7-8, believe it or not. Yeah. So St. Louis is 7-1 against Toronto for some reason.
A lot of negativity around Toronto right now, Scott. We can still get him at minus 115 right now, pretty much what it was before the game.
Yeah. It's weird about
3 minutes left.
You remember Berube? He was a goon. I wouldn't say a goon, but he was pretty close to a goon, right? That's how his style was. As a player.
Oh, he's a rough and tumble guy.
Yeah, but I don't see this Toronto team taking on his personality. The Toronto team that we all think about is a team that chokes in the postseason.
You can't
I don't know.
You can't get orange juice out of an apple, Scott. You know what I'm saying? It's the players. Like, if you're the Toronto Maple Leaf organization as a whole, the players need to look themselves in the mirror because they've been through this. They've been through 3 or 4 coaches now with this team, with this group, so to speak. And they brought in Mike Babcock, who won a bunch of Stanley Cups with the Red Wings, right? And gold medals with Team Canada and stuff. And, it was like, we got Mike Babcock, and Brendan Shanahan was the president of the Leafs, and he played for Babcock with the Red Wings. Babcock got fired, bro, because the Leaf players complained that they were getting verbally abused, and he threw water bottles at him in practice and stuff. He got really mad during a game once, and he wasn't hitting them, but there were very kind of hard slaps on the back on the bench, Scott. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Old school stuff, right? hey, wake the F up, man. Like, bam, like on the shoulder
Right.
type stuff. Like, wake up. Threw water bottles, like in their direction sometimes in the room and stuff, like losing it. They complained, like he got Me Too'd almost. Like they actually were like, oh, he's abusive to us verbally. It's like, dude, he's a coach. Like, not everyone's going to, like, he's won. Follow his path. Listen to him. He's won. He was the coach of Team Canada and the coach of the Detroit Red Wings. He knows what he's doing. He got Me Too'd out of the league, and then they bring in a nice guy, Scott, and they run all over him. Then they bring in Berube again to get a tough guy, and now they don't listen to him. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take a flyer on the Blues. Yeah. Give me the Blues at Pick'em to win in overtime.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, like, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Midway through hour number 2. We got hockey, we got NBA, we got college football, little college basketball, and we got our good buddy SportsGrid host you see in here all the time, George Kurtz. Let's talk a little pucks with George. What's going on, George? How are you tonight?
Doing well. You mentioned a lot of hockey games tonight. Islanders and Dallas Stars game I'm very interested in. Stars just tied it at 1.
Ooh, okay. We'll start there then. Islanders playing some decent hockey late here, huh? How about that? Taking on Dallas tonight. Not an easy place to go and win. You mentioned it. Tied at 1, late second period. Islanders getting plus 136. Over-under is 4.5 on FanDuel, but it's minus 230, so you don't want to do that. But did you think the Islanders had a decent chance of winning tonight?
You already said it, Scott. The Islanders they're not the bad team they used to be. They'll play competitive hockey. Now, the Stars they're a Stanley Cup contending team here. And you're on the road here. I did take the Stars tonight in a lower scoring game, so I'm on the Stars and the under. But the Islanders, hey, I said they won't get blown out of too many games. Another reason why I like the Stars tonight is the Islanders went with the backup goaltender. Not that Rittich is bad, but he is the backup. He's not Sorokin. I kind of thought the Islanders would reverse it and go with Sorokin tonight and Rittich on Thursday against Detroit here. But I guess Patrick Roy felt differently. Another reason why I like the Dallas Stars tonight.
Blues and Leafs tied at 2 still right now. Going to overtime. Me and Scott were just talking about the Leafs' struggles. An extremely beat up and injured team right now. Like, They haven't won in 2 weeks, essentially. We're on to 13 days since they won a hockey game. They're missing basically 8 starters tonight, 8 regulars, and they're tied. I almost would jump in on the St. Louis Blues just out of, like, morbidness that the Leafs' misery continues, almost like the Rangers at home, we can get to compared to the Rangers on the road. But with that being stated, Scott, I learned my lesson last night. I'm not going to bet on a game that's going into overtime or a shootout, so we're keeping track of that. So it's like,
I'm going with St. Louis. You're 0-1.
I'm not going to curse you.
Even mark?
I'm not going to curse you on this. I know you jumped in on the Blues, so I'm not going to curse you on that one. But Blackhawks, guys, we wondered about this line, plus 100. They just played last week, a week and a half ago. It was a 4-0 game, and it was like scoreless after 2 periods or whatnot. There was a bunch of late goals in the game, Kurtz. We got another low-scoring game tonight with Chicago and the Calgary Flames. I didn't understand this line with the Blackhawks being plus 100 because Spencer Knight wasn't playing.
Yeah, listen, I kind of understand that, but the problem is Calgary's just been a bad team, right? They can't score goals. There are goal-scoring problems all year long. We're hearing about Nazem Kadri pretty much being he's being sent to everybody in the NHL, right? He's going to go here, he's going to go there. He'll fix this team, he'll fix that team.
He doesn't want to leave.
That's the thing, right? That is the thing. He doesn't want to leave Calgary, which is somewhat unusual, right? Usually players want to go to a more winning organization,
Not really.
A chance for the win to go for the cup.
He played for the Leafs before, and now it's different, but it wasn't easy. Put it this way, guys, not a lot of Muslim hockey players. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And hockey fans are pretty xenophobic to begin with as a whole, right? So, like, it got nasty. Like, he was in, and, he partied like it was a polarizing kid and stuff. So he played in Toronto in a very hostile, like, media type of situation. I think he likes just flying under the radar in Calgary, right? He doesn't have, like, they love him. He's become a model citizen, a role player type of thing. But you're right, Kurtz. Teams would kill to have him. Like, there are all these contenders. You got to believe, I would trade Dustin Wolf if I was them because he's a good goalie too. Right? Like, if I was the Flames, I would trade these guys. But Kadri, I know, Kurtz, that you're right that teams want him. But word is, and not just word, the fact is he doesn't want to leave Calgary. I saw, people close to the Flames the other day said, if it gets really bad, he'll leave. Right? But he thinks, he's hoping to turn it around a little bit. But if the Flames are if the Flames have 10 wins at Christmas time, guys, I guess Kadri could get moved to a contender.
Right
the
now,
Montreal Canadiens come up a lot.
They're in last place,
him, right?
Listen, living in the metropolitan area, the Devils keep being mentioned as contenders for Kadri, that they would like to get him. So that would be interesting for them too, right? Especially if
he's one of those guys that can
back.
help a winning team get over the top, Scott, right? Yes. Like a Brad Marchand with the pen. Like, you know what I mean? He's that sort of. He's a little spark plug, this dude, man. Like, he brings it. Like, you know what I'm saying? He plays with intensity. He's flying around out there.
Do they have the least amount of goals in the NHL? Looking at it now, they have 43 goals.
Who? The Rangers or the Flames?
The Flames. Oh, wow. I think the Rangers have plenty of goals. Rangers only have 49.
No.
Second lowest. I'm sorry, 51. I looked at the goals against. Rangers have 51. So they need goal scoring help.
He had a 6 tonight. He had a 6 tonight in this game, and the Blackhawks are an under team, guys. Even though people don't think of them as an under team, but they're an under team.
Yeah, I was with you. I thought the same thing here. I took the Hawks in the under. So I said Flames are almost always an under, but generally you're getting 5.5. Not I never get even numbers, by the way. I never see a 6. Not a FanDuel. Right. We never get that.
Rarely.
So,
very rarely.
Yeah, that was an easy.
Tell you what, though, they're giving you what I do like now is they're giving you 4.5 still for the game, and it's plus 154. It's 1-0. 2 minutes into the second period. Plenty. I love that plus 154. You keep on getting this to 1-0. Before long that'll turn into negative money. So I like the flyer on that of under 4.5. How about the Rangers? You mentioned the Rangers, 6 straight road wins. They can't buy a goal at home, let alone win. Get on the road, they're Heckle and Jekyll, and they're getting plus 114 against a Vegas team that's 1-5 its last 6. How do you not play the Rangers?
Rangers are 9-1-1 on the road. And you already said it there, Jekyll. They're a completely different team on the road for whatever reason. All right, and as you said here, the Vegas Golden Knights are not playing well. We know they're going with the backup goalie. Aiden Hill is still out here. I'm on the Rangers. Stayed on the early line tonight. It's probably my favorite play of the night. We'll take the Rangers on the road against Vegas here. They just play better on the road, and Vegas is, I guess, struggling is the right word, right? They're not playing well right now. So, yeah, I'm on the Rangers tonight to beat the Vegas Golden Knights. If it was at the Garden, I probably wouldn't touch the game. I would leave it alone. But in Vegas, I'm going to take the Rangers.
Hopefully there's not too many Ranger fans to make them feel at home, and it'll confuse them and they'll play poorly. But I mean, but there will be, like, Vegas. The buzz, not the buzz is wearing up, but like Vegas, a lot of the fans are visiting fans. Like there'll be a ton of Ranger fans there tonight, right? Like it'll sort of there'll be a Ranger buzz in the building tonight for this game. But I'm with you guys. I'm not going to get in front of this. The Vegas Golden Knights are struggling to score goals right now.
Yeah. They are, and it seems like they struggled since Mark Stone went out, right? For a good player, but we're not talking about a star player, but since he's gone out, they have struggled really to play hockey in general here. But the bottom line is, listen, Rangers 9-1-1 on the road. Vegas not playing well right now. I just thought this was an easy bet for me. Plus, you wanted the Rangers maybe pumped up a little bit after what happened against the Red Wings the other night, where whoever was put the puck in the net. I don't know, half a beat after the buzzer, so that the Rangers went after and quick went bananas here. Maybe that helps the Rangers tonight as well here. But I'm all over the Rangers tonight.
I'm going to play an in-game pick here, guys. Calgary and Chicago, I'm going to go under 4.5. It's plus 155. I'm going to roll the dice.
I like that. Yeah.
It just played last week, guys. It was 4-0. It was 0-0 after 2 periods. Remember, there was a bunch of goals in the third period. I just looked here. Guys, the Calgary Flames have 5 shots on goal. We have 17 minutes left in the second period. Like, their offense is like the Raiders' offense or something. Like, their offense is bad. They can't score.
They may be the worst team in the NHL.
They can't score.
Yeah. Except for like a week and a half stretch where they scored a few goals. It's been just a constant struggle from them. Just constant. So
they've scored 7 goals in their last 5 games. That's not good.
Wow.
1.4.
Wow.
Yeah, with 7 goals in their last 5 games, Scott, the Flames. And they're being shut out now through a period and a quarter here.
And they were pick them on the road, against anybody, which is crazy.
They're terrible.
Right?
What the hell were the lines makers doing with this? I don't want to jinx it. It's 1-0 always.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah.
There'll be 7 goals in the third period now. We'll all lose.
All right. Final minute of overtime. No score with the Blues, and it's still 2-2.
Oh, God. The Leafs just scored. See? Even me talking about it. I didn't bet it. Leafs score 3-2. They win in overtime.
Wow. Thanks, George.
Anytime.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? it'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, George Kurtz, joining us, as he does from time to time. Talk a little hockey. Didn't get into the baseball with him, Gabe, but he had a bunch of players today accept their qualifying offers. Couple surprises. I thought the Grisham of the Stanks. I thought Imanaga, who the Cubs turned down the option they had, so they actually got him on the cheap. But I thought someone, Imanaga, on the open market would have gotten a 2 or 3 year deal. Instead, he settles for one, settling for $22 million. Nice life right there. So a couple little surprises I thought today in baseball.
Yeah, you know what? We're waiting for the big dominoes to start falling, but it's going to start to happen, right? Teams like to have their big, like Kyle Tucker, an example, like Kyle Tucker, that deal will be announced December 15th or something, December 7th. Teams like to have this stuff before the holidays. Sell season tickets, get people excited, sell some merch, right? Hey, man, we signed Kyle Tucker. I want to buy a jersey for my kid for Christmas. Right? There's a reason for it, right? So let the process play out. But, you know what I mean? We haven't really, I haven't freaked out on the hot stove or anything. You know, it's sort of starting to develop, right? Naylor stays. The Bieber stuff was crazy that he accepted $16 million, his option. Yeah. It was like, wow, you could have made more, bro, for sure. But he wanted to stay with the Toronto Blue Jays. You know, Imanaga probably likes his life in Chicago right now, and he pitches well this year. He'll make money next year as well. So it's a calculated gamble. He's getting, what you said, it's like, he's getting $22 million. But it's funny that Yankee fans, Scott, are actually upset that Grisham is staying.
Yeah.
Only the Yankee fans, Scott? They bitch no matter what. They bitch no matter what. You win, you bitch, you bitch, you bitch, you bitch, you bitch. I saw literally today on Twitter when Grisham, Yankee fans were like, why? Oh, no, why? I thought he was gone. I'm like, guys, he said he hit 34 home runs. What are you crying about? Yeah. You got him on the cheap. He just took $22 million to stay.
Unbelievable. And he hit a lot of big home runs. There's certain guys that hit meaningless home runs. I remember a lot of
important,
really
shots,
big-time important home runs from him. So I don't think he had a good postseason, so maybe it's just a lasting memory thing. But, a little surprised that they were upset that he actually accepted. So and
they're never happy.
I know. Listen, he's got a ton of injuries.
Yeah, he's another one
when
that
he's
took it.
On, I mean, he could be a really good pitcher. I'm surprised. Listen, as a Red Sox fan, we paid guys who were already gone. Tommy John surgery. Giolito was going to miss 2 years ago, right? They still signed him to a contract. So I'm a little surprised that Woodruff wouldn't have tried the open market because I can't help but think he would have got a decent deal.
We'll see, too. Framber Valdez is a free agent.
Yeah.
Right? So it'll be interesting to see him deliberately trying to kill his catcher and crossing over the pitches will come into play with teams, right? But I don't think it will for the most part. They'll ask him what was that about and stuff, but I don't think, that'll stop teams. But, I mean, Bo Bichette's a big one, obviously. Will the Toronto Blue Jays, pull off a double here? Keep Bo Bichette and get Kyle Tucker. I get the feeling that Kyle Tucker is going to end up in the AL East, right? Between the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and you got the Yankees as well. There's Cody Bellinger back to LA talk. And it was actually from Los Angeles. Dodgers sources today reported that the Dodgers actually contacted Bellinger's people and said, you want to talk, right? Maybe a homecoming is in question. In the outfield.
Where? I mean, they're loaded already.
Center field?
Center field, maybe? So you're going to keep Mookie at second, right? You're going to keep Ohtani at right field?
No, Mookie at short.
Rather, right.
Probably Kim, the Korean dude, didn't play much, but I don't know. The Dodgers dude, and get this, Scott, as dangerous as the Dodgers are, they have $87 million off their books.
Wow.
Like that. So like for all the money that they have, they basically say, all right, you know what? We have $87 million to spend, and we're not even spending more than we did last year. So they actually have $87 million plus. So money's obviously not an object for them, but I don't think they're going after Kyle Tucker. Maybe Bregman, right? But maybe. But the outfield's a problem, Scott. Kiki Hernandez is a great postseason player, but he's not a great everyday player out there, right? So to me, is he an everyday left fielder? Andy Paez hits 25 home runs, but he can't hit, Scott. The guy hits 190, bro. And Teoscar Hernandez, I think we've seen the best of. I think we're going to start to see a Teoscar decline moving forward. But word is with the Dodgers, they're going to be super aggressive. Look for them. I think they're going to bring in Devin Williams. They're going to keep Tanner Scott, but they're going to bring, speaking of Yankees, so we're going to take, and just to spite you Yankee fans, Devin Williams would be great with the Dodgers. Watch.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He was so bad with the Yankees. Watch him go out to L.A. and resurrect his career. That would be funny. They could, if they really, really, really wanted to spend money, they could go get what's-his-face from the Mets, who's a free
Edwin
agent.
Diaz. That's come up, too.
Yeah. Now, the Mets are supposedly going to re-sign him. I don't think there's any kind of who knows? Who knows?
And are the Mets going to do anything? I mean, Cohen's the richest guy in baseball.
I know.
He could do whatever the hell he wants to do. how come they're not just signing everybody?
Yeah. I think this year was kind of like a slap of reality for him. Okay, I'm going to spend. And, it didn't work with the Scherzer and Verlander thing, but he was probably okay, I understand that. These guys were 90 years old. Whereas the last year, he did spend on younger players, and they didn't even make the playoffs. And I think he just realized, wow, this is going to be harder than I thought.
And he has to secretly have buyer's remorse with Soto.
Yeah.
Soto doesn't care.
Listen, he wants
Soto doesn't care.
The big thing around here is he bought the team. He improved the team because he wants to get the gambling license. They're going to open up a casino, and he's one of the final 4 guys that's trying to get the casino. And there's a lot of buzz around here that's
I don't think he's going to get it.
The only reason why he bought the Mets. I don't. Maybe not. I don't know, but I just know he's one of the final guys.
He doesn't seem to have the support for whatever reason. You figure, but politics in New York is whacked out, as you know. But
yeah.
The local, basically, Queens are basically telling him, you're not just taking the neighborhood over. Right? Because like you said, he wants to build a casino, malls, condos, and all that.
Yeah, the whole
Which,
bit.
you know what? Vinny would know best, living there, growing up there, actually, because every time I see Citi Field, all I see around it is all those closed garages that I just imagine there's a bunch of mob dead bodies in. I'm man, there's nothing around that stadium besides a bunch of closed garages.
Yeah, you're not taking those things up. No way. That's somebody else. We'll close up shop next.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. Like, I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, like, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? You know, it'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, quick 2 hours. That is for sure. Let me check our opening pickoff plays here. Let me check shots on goal first up from my guy Matt Coronado, the New Yorker. Speaking of New York, he has none. He stinks. The guy has 4 shots on goal, 5 straight games. He has none so far. So that we need some help there. We got the Dookie Pukies. They're in a close game against Kansas, so we need some help there. Gonna hit more than likely the under 146.5 Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa game. There's only a couple of minutes left, and they're only about 120 points, so that's not going over. And then I got the Spurs. They are laying 6.5, 5.5, 6.5 against Memphis, and that one is let us see close game, 87-86, end of 3, so it's down to 2.5. All right, fourth quarter, at least we're in it. We're not losing it, or well, not losing by a lot anyway, down 1. Thought the Spurs would play a little bit better tonight. So how are your picks doing so far?
Well, I gave Montana as my first pick. If you remember opening the show, there were so many of them, but we gave Montana plus 17. Montana are losing by 6 right now with a minute and 40 seconds left. So we got a close game, 75-69. But I also gave I also bet the over of this basketball game, and I bet over 162 or a 156.5. So we're looking at a potential split with that. And we gave the Chicago Blackhawks to win the game at plus 100. They're currently winning 1-0, and I gave the under in the Flames and Blackhawks game. And speaking of which, it is still 1-0, and we jumped in on that under 4.5, guys, at plus 155. It's currently 4.5 right now still, Scott. It's minus 150 now, but there's only one goal. We talked about it. Calgary at last check, I can tell you again, Calgary had 5 shots on goal at last check. So they've actually, the Calgary Flames are now up to 7 shots on goal. Dude, like they've played.
Just survived. To give you an example of how slow things are, they just survived. Calgary did a 2-man disadvantage too. So,
guys, I know it's 4.5. I don't know where 5 goals are coming from. Like here, honestly, it could open up, but the Blackhawks aren't as explosive as people think they are. They have flashy players. Bedard's a badass, and Nazer's really good and stuff, but they don't want to get into track meets. Like they're trying to play lower scoring games. The Blackhawks.
Yeah. So Winnipeg that was the play tonight. You know, you look, hindsight being 2020, you always think about all these things, and then when it comes through, it's like
it was minus 190. That was the problem, Scott. That's why I didn't give it. Like it was minus 190.
Yeah. Sometimes the numbers will just scare you off. You put them in a parlay if you want. My favorite is regulation. It's 3-1. It's not, listen, it's not over by any stretch. But, first of all, it's Winnipeg at home, which is good enough as it is. And then you throw in the Columbus situation, having to fly from Columbus to Winnipeg after playing overtime, shootout game no less last night. For them to fly all the way up to Winnipeg and win that game tonight, well, that would have been fluky. That really would have. So 3-1. Would I like 2.5? I put a couple. I'm not big on laying 2.5 goals, even up 2 goals, but maybe a couple shekels on that one. I don't see Winnipeg putting up much of, or Columbus putting up much of a fight.
Rangers red hot on the road, so we got them coming up against Vegas. And I brought it up earlier that I like Canada and the under. Canada winning 1-0 right now, 1-0 in the 70th minute against Venezuela. And I brought up there's no such thing as friendlies, that they always get nasty these games quickly. Both teams have had a player ejected. Both teams have had a red card. And as I speak right now, somebody just went down hard here.
Wow.
It just is what it is. Like the CONCACAF teams, guys, anyone who follows soccer, Scott, like the U.S. games, the Canada, U.S., Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Venezuela, etc. Like, it's dirty stuff, man. Like when Canada plays El Salvador, like it's basically like the movie Slapshot, but for soccer. Like it's just almost a brawl and a fight. It's not even a soccer game. It's just everyone's kicking each other and punching each other. And like it gets out of hand, right? And you can't help it. Like people think soccer's soft. It's actually not. They're all nut jobs. Like, some of them dive and stuff, but they're all pretty, like they're hotheads, bro. You got a bunch of hothead South American dudes and then Europeans, like, man, they're all nuts. So, like, you get a lot of sort of, like, there's a lot of contact and violence in soccer and anger, and you're seeing this in a so-called friendly tonight.
Akron leads Bowling Green by 3, starting the 4th. Western Michigan blowing out Northern Illinois. I'm glad I didn't play that one.
UMass got to 14. And you know what? Ohio's not going to cover. They're only up by 14.
No. 28-14 over UMass. 0-10 stinking UMass that lost to Merrimack or Amherst or some awful team. It's hanging with Ohio. All right, Game Live, we'll be back tomorrow night, 8 to 10. Hopefully you guys can tune in. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, folks.